Alrighty then, Year 7. Let's see what we can do in the second lesson, Year 7 Humanities, Term 2, Week 1. So as you can see, similar to the last lesson, I've put the lesson plan up in Compass. I'll read through that, go through the slides, go through activities. We should be able to finish this a bit quicker than the last one. So, lesson plan for today. Again, this is just for 7F3, 7E4. Yours will look the same. It'll just have a different date, obviously. Second lesson, though, we are looking at developing our understanding of the economic concept of opportunity versus cost. The success criteria is hopefully by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain how opportunity versus cost impacts financial decisions and connects to the economic problem of scarcity. What you'll be doing for the lesson activities, reading through the class slides, slide 11 to 15, a bit less than last lesson, and complete these slide questions and activities. The set lesson activities are to be completed in your digital notebook. Again, I'll pop the link to this video down there in the lesson plan before tomorrow. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. If you have any ideas or suggestions for how we should improve these videos, or something different you'd like with the slides, or whatever ideas you guys have, whatever questions or feedback you have, please let me know. Anyway, so without further ado, why don't we go to slide 11 of our little PowerPoint. So here's our lesson plan. I've gone through that before. Lesson language for this is opportunity and cost, obviously, because that's what we're looking at. So opportunity, just for you guys, just giving you a real simple definition. Opportunity is a chance, it's a possibility for something to occur. Usually it's a positive thing, but opportunities are a good thing, usually. And a cost is something given, something taken. It's a loss in order to afford something. So it's usually a negative thing. It is important to note that costs are not always financial. So something could cost your time. Think of opportunity versus cost as reward versus risk, the positives and the negatives of a financial decision. Don't think of cost simply as just being money, because things can cost something, but you don't pay for it with money. You can pay for it with time, or maybe you trade X for Y. So cost, opportunity, it's your positives versus your negatives. But I'll talk about that in this lesson. So, every decision at home, at school, or in business will have positives and negatives to consider. For example, if I stay up late studying for an economics test, my grades may improve, so it's a positive, but I'll be too tired to do anything tomorrow. We can all relate to that. That would be a negative. So every decision you make at home, school, or in business, whether it's related to finances, whether it's related to studying, whether it's related to sport, music, anything really, it's going to have positives and negatives. In economics, evaluating the opportunities and costs of each business decision is important for consumers and producers. So in order for consumers to get a good deal, to afford all the goods and services they need, to meet their needs and wants, I don't know why I keep looking at my little face. I should be looking at the camera. Anyway, in order for a consumer to meet his needs and wants with goods and services, they need to make good business decisions. They need to make financial decisions that are in their best interests. So you don't pay for something super, super expensive. You buy a cheaper version of that, something like that. For example, a consumer purchases a new TV for $200. That's a positive. They've got a new TV. I can use that TV to meet my needs and wants. But now I can only afford unhealthy instant noodles for dinner. I can already hear some of my year 7s going, "Oh, I love 2-minute noodles, Mr. Tabby, eat it for dinner every day. Fight me." Anyway, which means after eating an unhealthy meal, they're going to be super hungry and super tired. So you've got the decision there. My business decision was about a new TV. The opportunities, the positives, I have a new TV now. But the negatives, the costs, that I am now hungry and tired because I can't afford a very good dinner. A producer also has to make good business decisions. They have to consider opportunities and costs. So if a producer holds a sale on TVs, that's going to lead to more customers. So that's a positive. They're selling more TVs because of this big sale. Super. But maybe one of the costs they have is there aren't enough staff working in the store. You've seen that before, like on Boxing Day sales. There's all these customers and there's like 3 people working in the store and they're just kind of like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." So since there's not enough staff working, those customers leave the store really angry, they can't buy anything, and they leave like bad reviews online or something. So that's a cost. So they've sold a few more TVs, but they pissed off a lot of customers. So that could be your opportunity cost for a producer. And if I hide my giant little head there, just a quick little video at the top there explaining opportunity costs. You know, one of those 2-minute, 3-minute videos that I'll usually show at the start of the class. You can pause the video, you can watch that before, after, etc. Cool. So, how are we going to look at opportunity and cost this lesson? Well, in your notebook, I'd like you guys to record a couple of examples of opportunity cost you have experienced. So 1 or 2 examples of opportunity versus cost at school. So that could be related to how long you study for, what you've done at recess and lunch. So maybe at lunch, I stood in line at the canteen, got myself a delicious snack. That's an opportunity, but the cost is I lost kind of part of my lunchtime just waiting in line. 1 or 2 examples of opportunity versus cost that you have experienced or mum and dad have experienced at stores or businesses. So maybe I went to Macca's. It's Mr. Tabley. He definitely went to Macca's. And at that store, opportunity was that I purchased a meal. I got lunch. Super, super duper. The cost was that I felt ill afterwards because I ate too much food. Or the cost, it could be the literal cost of how much the meal was. So I bought food for lunch instead of making something at home, which would have been less expensive. And the cost there was, it cost me too much money. 1 or 2 examples of opportunity cost versus home. Opportunity might be I stayed up and I watched TV, so Netflix. Cost, I was too tired, slept through my alarm, mum yelled at me in the morning, something like that. So you're just writing those examples down in your notebook. And I'm also giving you a little scenario here in question 2. So scenario, you have been given a house, but you can only purchase 3 items to place in your house. So that's scarcity. That's the economic problem. You can have a limited amount of your resources. So you need to consider the positives and negatives, the opportunities and the costs of your decision. So select 3 items from the list below. So I've got iPhone, laptop, fridge, bed, washing machine, and a shower. And for each of your 3, just do a little positive and negative of your decision. So positive, negative of the 3 that you've chosen. So if you select iPhone, tell me why you've chosen that. So positives, it can be little dot points. I chose the iPhone because I can get on the internet, play games, I can contact people, call Uber Eats, something like that. Negatives of the iPhone compared to, getting a fridge or something. Obviously, I can't store food in it. At least you've got a very weird iPod phone. Anyway, so that's what you're doing in your digital notebook. A couple of questions there. Now, as I mentioned in the last lesson, I was going to say episode, oh dear, the biggest problem we face in economics is scarcity. We have a limited amount of resources, etc. It's important that we use our resources properly. So we have a small amount of resources. The problem is the demand for resources is unlimited. So even though we have a limited amount of food, our needs and wants are unlimited. You're never going to meet anyone who's like, no, I've got everything I want. I've got everything I want. It's never going to happen. The problem of scarcity forces consumers and producers to ask these questions. What should I create? How much? What cost should I give it to make a profit? What should I buy? How much? And what will I have to give up to afford this? And that's why we consider opportunity versus cost, just connecting this lesson to the previous lesson. We look at opportunity and costs to answer this question, answer this problem of scarcity. This lesson activity, similar to the last lesson where I gave you guys a couple extension activities, this one, if you run out of time, I understand, because it's a bit challenging working at home, working online. I've already had issues today where Compass has been super, super slow. My internet's been super, super slow. So what I want to see in your digital notebook, bare minimum, is this slide here, these questions here. If you have time, this one's just a fun little activity where you guys get to go onto the Woolworths online catalog. I've given you $50 of imaginary money, I should say quickly, before you run off to my dad and say, Mr. Tapley gave me $50. It's my year's budget. I can't give you that. Anyway, I've given you $50 of imaginary funds to complete a grocery budget. Using the Woolworths online catalog, challenge yourself to buy 1 week's worth of household items, so food, toilet paper, soap, etc., and then record your selection in your digital notebook. So write a brief opportunity cost summary of your selections. So what are the 3 biggest opportunities of your budget? And what are the 3 biggest negatives of your budget? So maybe you bought a lot of fruit and veg. So that's positive because you bought a lot of healthy food. Negative is that fruit and veg can go rotten. It can expire very quickly. Or maybe you bought a lot of 2-minute noodles. Positive, I didn't spend much money. negative, it's not very healthy, and I'll be very sick by the end of the week. So that's just a fun little extension activity that you can do if you have time, but I understand that a lot of people will be going through this slowly. I know I am. So if you'd like, you can see I've gone Woolworths online catalog. If you open this link here, boop, you don't have to enter your postcode, you don't have to worry about that. But let's say I'm going to get some fruit and veg because I'm very healthy. We both know that's a lie. Anyway, let's say Mr. Tapley wants some. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Potatoes. I'm Irish. Potatoes. Add to the cart. So I've just added, let's get 1 kilo of potatoes. That should last me a week. Oh, I've just deleted my potatoes. I've never been this sad before. Try this again. Super. Let's say I go to the bakery, in-store bakery, get some bread. Ooh, hot cross buns, yeah. Fruit hot cross buns. I prefer the chocolate ones, but you know what, I'll add it there. So see what you can do. If I move my giant little head, if I click on that arrow there, it'll show you how much your little budget is worth. So $6.85 at the moment. I've got $50 for the week. So see if you can add food and household items to get it to 50. And if you've got time, you complete this little extension activity here. But yeah, hopefully you guys are understanding what we're doing at the moment. Hopefully you guys understand where to access your digital notebook and how to use it. The other thing is, if you are having trouble with this link here to get to the class PowerPoint, the class slides, that class PowerPoint and all the other resources we'll be using, in your classwork tab, if you click on class drive folder, this is kind of like your Compass resources. This is a folder of, there's our PowerPoint, there's an episode of The Simpsons we get to watch later on, spoilers. There's a few learning tasks in there, so you can click on that as well for extra resources. Cool. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know again, and I'll try and answer those questions either via email very, very quickly, or I will discuss those questions before the next video in the intro, I guess you'd call it. And I might go over a few examples from the previous lesson in the activities or in the textbook. I might go over some of these questions in the next lesson. But yeah, best of luck, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I've said that about 100 times now. I'm still not great at these videos, but I'll get there. I'll improve. Anyway, thank you. Cheers.